Hey everyone, in today's episode I'm going to be taking a look at this Game Boy that I picked up over the weekend. Right now it is not in working condition, but I'm going to see what I can do to refurbish it and get it back into working condition. Long story short, I was out at a yard sale and a guy had it sitting out with a few Super Nintendo controllers. I did pick up those as well. I paid $5 for two Super Nintendo controllers as well as this Game Boy. Now, the Game Boy is not working, I can tell, because of the way that the batteries are corroded on the back side. And I don't know if the seller knew that or not. Obviously he wanted $10 for it, and I pulled open the battery compartment. I said, "This is pretty corroded, dude. Can you do maybe $3 on it?" And he said $5, and I was okay with paying that. But today's episode, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be opening this Game Boy up, getting inside, cleaning it up, refurbishing it. I might even be able to fit it with a new screen, backlit screen, and we're going to really clean this up and refurbish this. Hopefully I'm going to be able to fix this. If I can't fix this, I'm still going to release the video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up using this as a parts Game Boy. So I knew I would need this Game Boy either way, and I was okay with paying $5 with the Super Nintendo controllers for it. But I'm going to see if I can fix this Game Boy. So without further ado, let's start the show. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is just test and see if it does work. I did already test it, but I do want to show you and prove to you that I'm not just faking this, or that I'm not just lying that it doesn't work. So I'm going to put the batteries in, and as you can see, batteries are in, and I'm getting nothing from the Game Boy here. So it's definitely a battery problem, and there's another way we can test that, which I'll do right now. Is I will take the batteries out, plug in the power adapter, and we'll see if it works that way. So set the batteries aside, and I'm gonna set this battery door over here. And let's try the power adapter. Plug in the power adapter, and let's see if she's getting power now. Alright, so I am getting power. You can see on the right side here that there is some of the pixels aren't lighting up. So that's definitely going to be something that I'm going to have to look at and see if I can fix. Yeah, so that's alright. I have a trick for that. Hopefully it'll work. But if you can look inside, and let's see if I can get a good shot of this. You can see how corroded the battery compartment is. So I'm going to have to address that. And I'm not going to talk the entire time throughout this video. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put on some music, and I'll let the video play as the music is going on, and then I'll stop the music anytime I need to talk or say anything. So let's get started. which is located right here. All you gotta do is just give it a little pull and it'll come right out. I'll set this to the side right now, and what I'm gonna do is come back to it, come back to that later. But my main focus is on getting inside there and getting to these contacts and seeing if I can clean them up. So I'm gonna just remove this board out of here, and hopefully it'll go nice and smooth. So one of the easy ways that I've noticed to take these out, and I've never actually taken these out before, but there's a little spot right here on the back side, and if you put some pressure down, it'll kind of push right out and then just fall right out like that. So now I've got all those out. What I'm going to do is, I read online that in order to clean some of this, what you want to do is take some white vinegar and pour it into a glass and just let that stuff soak in there. So afterwards, I'll pull it back out and I'll clean it up real nice, and then I'll put it back in. Before I put it in the vinegar, I am going to go through and try to get some of this stuff here out, just the best I can, just to kind of give the vinegar a little bit of time to soak into it. So let's do that first. I had to run upstairs to grab some cotton swabs, some Q-tips, and I'll use some of this denatured alcohol to clean them up the best I can before they get in the vinegar. Alright, now I'm going to focus my attention on the front part of the screen. We're going to address those pixelated issues. So let's pull this off and let's see if we can get that fixed. You get the 12 screws out, then the board should come right out, as long as I'm not missing a screw. It should wiggle right out. There it goes. There goes the buttons as well. Alright, so I'm going to have to get those cleaned up as well. And the main part of this that I want to get into is this, along this strip right here, there's a ribbon cable. And it goes on both sides, of the screen. One of the things is you want to look out for the soldering of it, to make sure that it stays together. So you got to be really careful whenever you remove this type of stuff. So let's get under the screen. Let's see if we can clean that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the ribbon cable to the back part of the board, and then I'm going to plug in that AC adapter to find out which part of the screen needs fixed. As you can see, this whole right side here is probably messed up, and more than likely it's the ribbon cable right here, the attachment of the ribbon cable to the actual screen itself. So I'm going to heat up my soldering iron, and I'm going to just take my soldering iron and I'm going to just slowly and gently run it across this side here, and that should connect those solder points back up and then fix the screen. But you want to be careful because you don't want to actually touch this area with the soldering iron. You just want to kind of hover above this area with the soldering iron, and that should fix the pixels. We're going to see. And while my soldering iron is heating up, I'm going to come back and clean these up. See if I can finish cleaning up some of that corrosion from the battery. I'll use a cotton swab again, and I'm going to clean up that battery corrosion. So those are done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the screen. The soldering iron should be heated up nice and properly. And I'm going to see if I can connect this ribbon cable. Like I said, just go slow and be careful. Looks like that ought to do it. If you can see, pixels are all illuminated now. They probably won't ever be perfect, but you know, it's better than having a whole line of them out. So let's move on. I'm going to start assembling the back casing, putting the batteries back, and I'm going to see if it's going to work with just the batteries. Alright, now with everything back in it, let's See if it works. Alright, now we're getting places. Now that all that's done, essentially the Game Boy's back to where it needs to be. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this screen out and I'm going to put a backlit screen into the Game Boy, just so that it looks a lot better. We're going to pop it in and we're going to see what it looks like, because you know, anything is better than the backlit screen, well, the non-backlit screen that the original Nintendo has for you. So what I'm going to do, turn that off, and I'm going to start getting into the screen part, seeing what I can do. Alright guys, so I'm back. So after working with the back part of the screen and taking off this little film in the back, this little silver piece here, mine came apart, so it was a real hassle. So I had to stop and really work with the screen to get it nice and clean. And also there's some adhesive that goes on in the back side here in between that film. So I had to sit there and kind of work with it and really get it all off and get it out of the way. But as you can see, the Game Boy looks a lot better. I'm going to drop this mod into it. I got this mod from handheldlegend.com. They have all the parts for all kinds of kits, different varieties. They've got the Game Boy Pocket. They've got, I think they have a mod for the Game Boy Color. But all the parts that you need for this mod is over there. I'm going to pop this in and I'm going to hope that it works. You know, there's always a lot of problems that could occur whenever you're removing that back polarizer screen, you know, specifically with the connections right here, as well as any connections that run along the side here. So you know, I'm gonna pop this in and I'm gonna get to soldering, and let's see if it works. I got that all pieced together and soldered. It's the moment of truth. Let's turn it on. I got the game in there. Let's see how it looks. Screen power's on. Let's see if I can get it to focus for you. But yeah, so we've got power. We've got a backlit Game Boy. Everything looks like it's functioning great, which is awesome. So there are a few things that I do want to address before I really put it all back together. Like, there's some stuff behind the screen, so I'm really going to clean that out. And when I come back, essentially I'm just going to piece it together and everything will be good to go. I'm going to do is I'm just going to assemble this thing, put it back together, and check it out. Last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install a new glass screen on this Game Boy, and I have this glue, this E6000 glue, Industrial Strength Adhesive, and it's gonna do a really good job of holding this on, but it's also easy to take back off, so that's kind of the good part about this glue. I'll leave a link in the description of where you can get this glue from. You could probably get it from a department store, but I'll also leave a description of where I got all the parts, you know, the stuff from Handheld Legend, you know, where all the videos that I use to figure out how to do this mod myself, all that kind of stuff I'll put in the description. But whenever we come back, I'm gonna fit this with the new screen, so we'll jump to there. I got most of it off. I'm ready to drop the new screen in. I've got everything finished. At this point, I'm just gonna show it off with a couple games. Bye.